Welcome to Ministry in Motion, where we explore best practices for your ministry in the 21st century. Whether you're a pastor or a volunteer leader in your local church, Ministry in Motion is filled with ideas and great resources for you and your ministry. And today's program has a very special international flavour. Our guest today is Pastor Elton Kohler. He's the director or the leader of the Seventh-day Adventist Church for the South American continent. And our topic today is visionary leadership. Elton, thanks so much for joining us on Ministry in Motion.
Thank you for your invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you.
It's just wonderful to have you. Now, let's just share a little about the size and the scope of the church in South America. How big is it?
Okay, let me try to explain our reality there. We have 8 countries in South American division that we call our office in South America. Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Chile, Peru, and Ecuador. 8 countries with about 300 million inhabitants in that area. The Seventh-day Adventist Church has there almost 2.5 million members. It's a large family in our lands. 2.5 million members in that 8 countries with about 26.6 churches and companies together. We have about 4.5 thousand pastors that's taking care of that church, and a lot of institutions and movements and offices that we are operating to support the church in the growth in that area.
Wow, that's quite a role that you have, to lead all those millions of Christians, all those pastors, all those congregations, as well as those major institutions. So you have really quite a task on your hand, and we are so appreciative that you've taken the time to be with us today. Now, you're known as a visionary leader, and who is somebody that's really captured you and excited you in terms of visionary leadership?
Well, I like to read books to know about great leaders in the past and in the present, but it's in the Bible where I find the best models for me. I like to see and to take ideas from 3 biblical leaders.
Okay.
Moses,
right.
I like it to see a man that guided a 1,000 movement from Egypt to new land that they received from God. I like to see his patience, his strategy, his leadership skills. I like to see Moses. He had problems, but he was a winner by God's grace. I like to see David. He was very sensitive. He has sensibility, but intelligence together in leadership. And I like to see Paul, very intelligent man that did great things for the early primitive church.
Yeah.
These 3 men are special models for me. And if I can take some other ideas, I like to see from different leaders good ideas in the present, but I prefer to take my vision to the Bible.
Yeah. And the Bible, it's a wonderful resource, isn't it? You know, and the life of Paul, for me, you know, not only was he a visionary, but he was tenacious. He kept on at the task. The vision was always and ever present there for him. And that's why I particularly find him so inspiring.
Yeah, it's a challenge every day to find inspiration, to coordinate a large work, to do great things, to move that army. But I like to find inspiration in 2 special things. First of all, in prayer. Every day, I start my day praying for God, asking wisdom. Wisdom for that day. Wisdom for the needs that I have, for the projects that I have and the church has. Second, looking for people. I like to observe, to pay attention in people, their needs, their realities, their movements. And all the time I'm thinking what we can do to serve that people, to reach their needs. That movement of people is a source of ideas and motivation and vision for me all the time. Prayer and people together, I think that's a huge combination to do something special and visionary leadership.
Right, okay. So what you've said already has been so helpful. So we find vision from key Bible characters, people like Moses, David, Paul, and also prayer time,
Yes.
particularly at the start of the day, earnestly seeking that vision from God.
Anthony, in South America, we have a movement that we invite all the church to spend the first hour every day. Everyone has the personal first hour, but the first hour we need to dedicate to God, to search God, to listen His voice, to ask Him everything that we need. And I spend my first hour reading the Bible, taking my devotional time, but especially praying for God. Not just asking wisdom, but praying about specific issues that I'm thinking, I'm visioning, I'm planning. I ask special wisdom, and I recognize that a lot of projects that we have didn't born with me. I received it from God in that time that I spent praying and asking wisdom from Him.
Wow, so you're describing, it's not just a whispered, hurried prayer before you rush out the door, but and it's taking time to speak and most importantly to listen.
Yes.
Every day for that hour
To
period.
open to receive something that God wants to send to you.
Yeah.
We need to be open to receive the ideas that He will send. Sometimes He can give directly one idea. Sometimes He can send a person to give one idea. But when we are open, God gives us the indication that He is sending something special.
Right, okay. Now, one thing that I'm sure comes your way is a multitude of ideas that come in a day. When you're praying for it, when you're looking for people with ideas and vision, I'd love to talk to you about prioritizing those ideas. When there's such a range, such diversity of ideas, how do you select and pick those ideas to actually run with and to cast in your field? So we'll talk about that right after this break. We'll be right back with more Ministry in Motion. Welcome back to Ministry in Motion. Our topic today is visionary leadership, and our special guest is Pastor Elton Kohler. Elton, with all of these millions of people that you're ministering with in South America that are involved and are active, they have ideas and visions, and they share them with you and other leaders, and there's a lot of leaders in the community there as well. How do you prioritise the key ones, and still keep people participating, and if their ideas aren't being used, so that they're not feeling crushed because their ideas weren't used? How do you make that selection?
That's a hard question. But first of all, I like to spend all my time thinking ideas, asking people, receiving some suggestion. I don't have a specific time where I think about something new that I or our team will do. I spend all the time, my entire life, thinking about options. But when the people start to see that we are open to do something new, they have a lot of ideas to share with you. Normally, I do some things to try to evaluate what will be best or better to do or not. First of all, I pray about. Second, I like to talk with other people that is helping me in my leadership, because sometimes more minds thinking better than one mind alone. I like to ask them, what do you think about it? You think that can run in our territory? Third of all, I like to take ideas that I can use to move the maximum of people. I don't like to take ideas that I can use to move 10, 20, 30 people. That's not an idea for me. It's an idea for a local pastor that has his community or the local conference. But when we think in a continent, we need to think in something big. I like to take ideas that we can use to move a lot of people. And the last one, I like to take ideas that can be simple, bold, and relevant. That ideas catch my attention immediately, because if the idea is simple, I can move people with that. If one idea is simple, I can understand that every person in every place can take that idea and can use that idea. Because if you want to move a multitude, an army to do something, we need to create a project that everyone can be part. When we create a project that we need to prepare a book to explain that project, or we need to explain hours and hours and hours, or a project can be good for just a group of people, you will not move an army with that project. I like to take simple projects. When I take this idea, I pray, I talk with people, I can mobilize a lot of people, and I can take something simple, big, and relevant. These ideas catch my attention.
Wow, those three words that you use there, simple, big or bold, and relevant.
Yes.
Wow, that's the vision.
That's a
isn't it?
good combination.
Yeah.
Good combination.
Yeah.
Our church, I think that we can talk for pastors and leaders right now. Our church like to do something that can be relevant. They are tired to do something simple, some projects very common, or some cultural projects. They are ready to be invited to do something relevant, big, that can do the difference in the community, to preach of gospel and to receive Jesus in the clouds of heaven immediately. They are ready to do something relevant.
Wonderful. Now, there's a key question that I'm eager to ask you, and that is, how do you actually cast the vision? Let's say you've got the vision, and you're welcome to use an example. You've got the vision. How do you then cast that to the multitude so that they buy into it and are not just observers, but active participants? Can you talk us through the process?
Okay,
please?
let me try. Sometimes you don't have the style ready to explain, but let me try how normally I do something.
Sure.
With my powerful English, if you can understand, everyone can understand. But first of all, I told you I like to pray about. Second, I start to talk with the people that works close of me.
Okay.
That's the first step.
Right.
I can't start to promote something or share some idea that I can't motivate or convince the people that works close to me. That's the first group. I like to talk with them, to listen from them, and to sell the idea for them. The another group is the departmental directors from our office for the continent. Normally, before to launch any idea for the leaders of the church or for the church, I spend 1 or 2 days talking with them, listening them, how they can evaluate that idea, how they can change that idea, how they can enrich that idea. I am preparing the idea. The third of all, I invite the union presidents, the leaders from different regions in our division, and I start to discuss and to sell the idea for them. And the last point, every idea that I launch, I like to listen people, to evaluate everything, but I work intensively to simplify the idea, because I need to sell the idea for the leaders, and they need to understand quickly the idea, and they need to take the idea for them. It's not my idea. It's just some idea that I'm giving for them, and they will take the idea, and they will promote, they will do that, they will sell that idea by their personal perspective. When I create something very complex, they need to follow my project. When I give the idea for them, then they can take the idea, they can create their project, and they can share with their communities. Simple projects are the base, the last base that I take after to promote the project for the leaders, for the church, and to start to do that project, a relevant movement. Mm-hmm. I don't know, can you understand the
clearly.
Steps that we can do in that situation?
What I'm hearing is that you start with a very small group, you and God.
Yeah.
In prayer, and then it's gradually widening. First of all, to your immediate leaders, and as you're ever increasing the circles of influence with the vision, it's being refined. You're listening, there's feedback, there's maybe some adjustments in the vision. But one thing I did hear...
But 2 things that is very important to think about, Anthony. First of all, I stop my process when I sell the idea for the union leaders. after that, they need to prepare the idea, they need to create their projects, and they need to offer that project for that region. It's very important for us that project do not belong to the division or to the division president. That project belongs to the union, to local fields, to local pastors. They need to take that idea for them. Second,
can I just interrupt you? So you're trusting other leaders
yes,
with that
yes.
vision?
I'm not going to local church, to conference, or to unions to promote the project. Yeah. They take the project. Mm-hmm. In every country, in every local union, they need to create a local approach for that project. Belongs to them. Yeah. The idea that we gave is a very simple idea, but to integrate everyone in the same movement, the ways that they use to do locally, they can elect what they will do. And second thing that's very important, I don't like to do a lot of projects together. It's important to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and the maximum 5 movements together. When the pastor or the leader start to create every week a new program, every month a new program, he starts to create a difficult for the members to choose what will be the best, how they can involve people, because they have a lot of opportunities to do. We need to look 3, 4, or 5 and put all energies in that, and the people will come with you.
Thank you so much. So what I'm hearing, simple, bold, relevant, and limit the number. Now, meeting resistance to the ideas is something I want to address with you as well. We'll do that right after this break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Ministry in Motion. Welcome back to Ministry in Motion. Our topic today is visionary leadership, and our special guest is Pastor Elton Kohler. Now, Elton, we live in a real world. When people, leaders, visionary leaders, have ideas, often, occasionally, they're met with some resistance. There may be even some skepticism about the vision that's being cast, or cynicism. How do you manage that? Because a pastor in a local church, when they're casting their vision, they meet the same resistance, and I'm sure they're eager to hear from you on this.
Yeah. Look, Anthony, my first reaction is to be patient. We need to wait people understand. Some people can understand quickly, and other people need time to understand some new idea or some new perspective. Second, I spend my time initially with the people that's ready to do something, to take an idea, to be involved in the process or in a project. I learned in my life and leadership that if you start with the people that's ready to work, the rest of the people that has some difficulty or is more resistant, they will watch the movement. And at the end, if they see movement happening, something happening, the movement taking power and attracting people, they will look, they will pay attention, and if they recognize that the movement is good, the project is good, they will go with us.
So
I don't spend time convincing them. I like to talk with them, I like to present to them, but more than that, I prefer to show them the movement happening, and they will see with their eyes that everything or something or the movement that we have, it's good, it's positive, can be good for the church, and they will come. We need to give them time. The problem with our leadership is that sometimes we spend a lot of time, our energy and commentaries with the people that is resistant. Give them time. They need time to understand, but spend your best time and energy with the people that's ready to do something relevant.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is offer an adequate explanation. Explain the simple, bold, relevant initiative, and then work with the willing. Work with and create momentum, and then that momentum gathers further momentum. And people who are questioning, allow them to question, but allow them time to understand and then to come on board.
We need to be patient. Yeah. They have good opinions, we need to listen to them, we need to interact with them, but we can't force them to come. If they prefer do not participate, we need to respect that. If they prefer to watch something that's happening, we need to respect them. But at the end, the majority of our people will be participating if they look that something movement is very positive for the church.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. What's really exciting you at the moment? What's a visionary project that you're working on that you're finding very exciting at the moment?
Well, I shared with you 3 words. That 3 words is the base of every movement, and that motivates me to do something simple, big, and relevant. I think that is a secret that can move me to do something special. But my motivation is to do something that can involve the maximum of people of the church, to reach the maximum of the people in the community. I don't like to do something simple in size, simple in results. I like to see something big, and the church like to do something big also. First of all, I like to mobilize people. I like to reach a lot of people. And second, I like to think that with these movements, we are preparing a lot of people to receive Jesus when he comes in the clouds of heaven. This is my major motivation.
Wow. So it's a Christ-centered motivation. It's a prayer-centered, biblically based, working with the disciples of Jesus in that whole vast area. What an exciting vision. And I've got to tell you, you're coming on here as a guest. Man, the vision that you're casting here, the enthusiasm that you bring with it, I can see why God has put you where he has put you.
Thank you, Anthony. I like to work with passion. In South America, our motivation for pastors is pastors with passion. Because if we have passion, God can use us. God can't use a person that's almost dying spiritually or in his motivation. God likes to use people with passion. And I decided to put my life, my heart, my leadership, my family, my time in God's hands with passion to do everything that he thinks that we can do in that continent.
Wow. And you know, the take home for me, let me just emphasize this for our program. Simple, bold,
and relevant.
And make it just fly. Vision casting, visionary leadership. Thank you so much, Elton, for coming on to Ministry in Motion. And we want to thank you for coming on to Ministry in Motion as well. Thank you for joining us today. I trust you've enjoyed today's program. Today's program will be available on the Hope Channel. You're probably watching it on Hope Channel right now, or you can come onto our website. Our website is www.ministryinmotion.tv. And there you'll find an array of resources. You can see there all the programs that have ever been produced by Ministry in Motion, all the training programs, all the resource programs, all the inspiring programs for pastors, elders, deacons, all the volunteers in the local church that would like to be involved in ministry. There are free books that we offer there for free download as well. Many other inspiring and helpful resources as well. We're also eager to hear from you. If you have some ideas of future programs, future guests that we should invite and have on our program, we'd love to hear from you as well. There's a special feedback on our website. So please send us an email. It doesn't cost any money, and we'd love to hear from you. But most of all, we'd like to see you some more on Ministry in Motion. Join us again. Enjoy the inspiration and the resources that are available. And may God richly bless you in your ministry.